Saturday at MomoCon going? All right, great. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our panel for this evening, which is the Voicing Anime panel. And with me today, I have some very great guests. You know them, you love them. First up, we've got the voice of Eraserhead, Christopher Wakehamp. And after that, we also have the voice of Naomasa, Alejandro Saab. Please come up. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Just for some ground rules for everybody, we're going to be doing 30 minutes of my questions. Sorry, you have to wait. And then after that, it's going to be 30 minutes of audience questions. So feel free to come up in front of the microphone when we get there. My lovely runner will help you guys with that, okay? Cool. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and get started. So how's your guys' experience at MomoCon been so far?
Oh, it's been great.
Yeah?
Yeah, Saturday has been so full of humanity. So thank you all thank you humans.
There she is.
Oh,
yes, the
please
star of
come
the
to the
evening.
stage.
Emily Neves.
I think we might need
Do you have a
another water
question?
bottle.
They bullied me into starting without you. I just
Wait.
wanted to add that.
I have a very important
right.
question. It's technically 8:30. Are we allowed to curse?
Sure, I'm not going to stop you.
Okay, great.
Hi, my loves. I'm so sorry.
All good.
It's okay.
Ooh-wee.
Thanks for joining us, Emily.
Thank you. What's your name, my love?
My name is Rachel.
Hi, Rachel. So nice to meet you.
So please tell us, how has your experience at MomoCon been so far?
Huh?
How was your experience at MomoCon?
Oh my God,
so far?
so amazing. You guys are so wonderful. This has been literally the best con I've ever had. Seriously. It's not because I'm 2 margaritas deep.
Are you?
I am!
Yo!
2 hibiscus margaritas, so.
It's been good.
Don't judge me.
That's never.
It's been very good, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm
been
over
So
21.
good to meet people. I've met so many of you guys. I recognize a lot of faces in cosplay already. And thank you guys for coming out tonight to the late night Saturday panel. We appreciate it.
Woo, late night.
This is when things get weird, so let's get it weird. Within
Did you
reason.
say let's get weird?
Within reason.
Hell yeah. Reason is there's a lot of room there.
Yeah. Okay, so since we're at a con, let's kick it off by you guys telling us what sort of nerdy things you were into growing up.
Everything. I mean, literally everything. The Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, Looney Tunes.
Looney
everything.
Tunes?
Literally everything. The Muppets. I got Steve Whitmer to give me a Kermit signed print.
Yes.
I got so excited. I was like, yo, that's Kermit the Frog.
You walked right past me with that, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was like,
he's
look at
living
that
the
print.
dream.
I mean, yeah, you get it. But yeah, no, I'm a nerd and still am. It was really cool. A fan today gave me this Charizard plushie from the 90s, and I had that when I was 6.
Oh.
So I'm like, wow, I didn't even know these existed.
I'm so old.
That's cool.
So was Charmander your starter Pokemon? Was that
Yeah.
your Pokemon of choice? Okay, yes. Awesome. Well, hey, you never know. You could have multiple, stuffed animals of Pokemon and that not be your starter Pokemon. Just had to ask.
Yeah.
I was, all that. And also, I was very much into comic books and Dungeons and Dragons when I was a
Okay.
kid. I was like kind of, I thought for a while maybe I was going to be like a comic book creator. Like that was sort of a career path
Do
for a
you
minute.
draw?
I do, yeah. I mean, not as much as I used to, but yeah.
Okay.
And it's more of just like a fun hobby now. But for a while there, I was like, maybe I'm gonna I was really into Calvin and Hobbes, and I loved just all comic books, Marvel, DC, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the older I've gotten too, it's like it's weird to see how all this stuff has gone so mainstream.
Yeah.
Like if you had told me when I was like 10 years old, 11 years old, that there would be like an entire Marvel cinematic universe, I would have just been like, nah, that's never gonna.
You're lying.
It's just me and my 3 nerdy friends that like this stuff. Like
Sure.
that's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
You
it's
guys know about Iron Man?
You ever heard of Iron Man?
exactly.
Tony Stark.
Yo, they just introduced this thing, Thanos.
What about you, Emily? Were you a nerd?
I was more of a geek. So I was a theater geek, a choir geek. I got into anime, I guess, in high school with like Vampire Hunter D and Akira, and I was like,
yeah.
dude, I want to do that one day. Shit. And then, I mean, I've been a Star Wars nerd since
Yeah.
childhood, of course. I mean, I was born in
Some
A year.
in the
Some year.
80s. And Star Wars.
19.
I turned 16 today. But yeah, I've always been more of like a theater and choir geek, you know, into Shakespeare and all those things. But yeah,
Awesome.
Mighty Mouse was my first crush.
Who? Say it again.
Mighty Mouse.
There you go, Mighty Mouse.
When I was 5 years old, I said he was my boyfriend. So if that qualifies as nerdy, then
Oh, yeah. No, 100%.
Now I'm judging a little.
go ahead. I don't care. He saved the day, bitches.
That's fair.
Okay, so my first question for you guys is that you guys have, of course, all been voicing anime characters for quite some time. So how has the industry changed for you guys over the years?
Oh my God.
I'm the baby.
Yeah.
In this panel.
I've been voicing anime. It'll be 15 years in August, and it is. Thank you. That's so sweet. Yeah. It's crazy. But the industry has changed by leaps and bounds. I mean, when I started doing it, it was so niche. It was so like you said, you and your three friends
Yeah,
were into
right.
Marvel, but back then nobody knew what it was. And now it's almost mainstream. And I don't know. I kind of, not to toot my own horn, but I think that I feel like I'm a part of that a little bit of the history of it going from this niche thing to sort of being mainstream. And I honestly think that it has really happened in the last 5 years. My Hero is a big part of that. It's such a good show. It's just it's so accessible, and it's been very surreal. Like, this is probably the biggest anime con I've ever gone to, and I've been going to cons for quite a while, but it's really surreal to be, you know, waiting in line for the escalator and being like, oh my gosh, there are just thousands of people here, and they all love anime. And if you had told me that would be a thing in 2008, I would not have believed you. So it's magical and very moving, actually.
I mean, that says it all. Yeah, I've been doing it for 11 years, and I think when I started doing it, I was like trying to find my way back into acting after taking a lot of time off of acting, and I was like, I don't really know what this is. I'm just gonna be a guy in the background in One Piece and like scream as I get punched off
Heck
screen,
yeah.
like, let's go, you know? It just was a really fun outlet, and then I just kind of stuck. I just kept doing it, and it's its own strange little, you know, niche,
Yeah.
and so the only way to really get fast or get like capable with it is to do it a lot, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it wasn't really until, you know, the first 3 years really that I felt like I kind of even knew what I was doing, you know, per se.
Well, and I have to say, sorry to butt in, but you guys, both of you, are so effing good. Like,
thanks.
for real.
Thank you. Let's talk more about that.
Yes, please. Let's talk
Yeah,
more about
flatter
that.
me.
These guys,
Flatter
You go
me.
on.
so good. Great acting.
But you are too.
Oh, thanks.
I
Thanks.
would have said it too, but I was drinking water.
So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And the story that I always tell is my kids play baseball, and I had a conversation with a dude who was a dad of one of the kids on the team. Usually when people ask me who are outside of the entertainment industry what I do, I'm just like, I'm a contractor. It's not a lie. It's 100% true. I am a contractor. But there's no questions after that. No one has any questions after that statement, and that's perfect because I can explain what I do all day long to people, and they still have no idea what I'm talking about. 9 times out of 10. But this plumber dude, very salt of the earth, nice guy, Ray was his name. And he's like, is that your boy over there? I live in Texas. Is that your boy over there? I'm like, yeah, that's my son. Is that yours over there? He's like, yeah, Rory, he's been playing for a couple years now. You know, I keep telling him he needs to pitch, but he just don't want to. I'm like, well, you know, maybe he'll come around. He said, what do you do? I'm like, I'm just going to try this. I'm like, I'm a voice actor. A voice actor, okay. Anything I'd know? I was like, I'm just going to try this. My Hero Academia? You're in My Hero Academia? I know that. My daughter, she loves that show, man. Who do you voice in that show? I'm like, the teacher, the guy. He's like, oh, that hobo guy with the scarf. I know him. Yeah, I love that guy. I'm like, so I was blown away. So
Sure.
anime doesn't do that. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't cross over in that way.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but this totally does.
Wow. were you talking to my dad? Because he sounds just like my dad.
His name Ray?
Accent and all.
No, Jesse Neves.
Oh.
But he sounds just like
Ray
that.
Neves.
Yeah, salt
Ray.
of the earth, good old Ray.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, for me, I've been doing it for end of 2015, almost 7 years.
Yeah.
Like anime dubbing, yeah. And I'm weird. I was in Texas for like not even 4 years, and then I moved to LA. And
Where did you come from?
before Texas, I was in Florida,
Okay.
and before that, I was in Ecuador. My first language is Spanish.
Por supuesto.
Yeah, and yeah, I moved when I was 6. I stayed in Florida till I went to college, and then I dropped out because I didn't want to do animation. What a concept! And then I moved to Texas without even looking at the apartment. I was like, I'll take it. And I mean, hey, I'm not gonna question $600 a month of rent.
Certainly.
Yeah, and it was pretty nice. I got a loft for $600 a month. I was like, I don't know who's looking out for me, but this is pretty good. And yeah, I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of things. Thankfully, for some reason, I got right in as like simuldubs were like on the climb, and then Funimation went from like, yeah, we're doing like 2 shows simuldubs, now 4, now 20, now 30, and I'm like, okay. And also, sorry, formerly Funimation, now Crunchyroll. I have to correct myself.
Fundamunchy
Exactly. But yeah, it's been interesting seeing the evolution of like, because I know that before it used to be, oh, you audition, then you read for something, and it comes out like 2 years later.
Sure.
And then simuldubs, and now it's like, oh, you read for this thing? Great, we're announcing tomorrow.
Yeah, and also I've already seen all the episodes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Get
So
ready.
weird. Yeah, so weird.
Very weird.
Okay, so another thing I've been kind of curious about, how do your personal relationships or experiences influence the characters you play?
Well, I
Or
mean,
do they?
they do, absolutely. That's all we have to draw from, right, is our own experience.
Yeah.
And I feel like in every relationship, there is something in your own life that is at least enough like what you're doing to transfer it. And what doesn't transfer, you fill in with your imagination. So, but yeah, I mean, I feel like that's, as actors, that's our research is our own lives. So.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, I immediately thought of I worked on a show known as Horimiya. I voiced the lead in that. And there's an episode where Miyamura's whole thing is that during middle school, he thought he was the weird kid, and he was bullied, and nobody liked him, and he was kind of suicidal. And I was like, man, I can kind of relate to that because everybody made fun of him, you know? And there's an episode where, like, the best friend of the show, he goes up and goes, "You're weird." And Miyamura kind of gets, like, triggered a little, and he's like, "Oh." And then his friend goes, "I didn't say that was a bad thing." And then, like, he starts crying, and he goes, "I'm okay. I wish I heard that when I was in middle school." And I was like, oh, yeah, I felt that. Yeah, so, yeah, absolutely. Drawing from
Beautiful.
experience is absolutely helpful. Yeah.
And that universal middle school experience that we
Yeah,
all,
like-
it's, what is
No
the
matter
deal
who
with
you
middle
are.
school? Yeah.
Hey, look, now it's
It's just terrible.
the
guys.
kids don't even carry around the textbooks anymore.
No, they
No.
don't.
It's because nobody's frontal lobe is fully developed.
Yeah.
That's right. It's just a mess. Hormones and
Facts.
everybody's mean and everybody's hurt, but they're hurting each other because they're hurt, and
Yep.
it's just
No matter who you
a
are.
hotbed of trauma.
Now bullies are like, you don't read the manga? Ugh. Before it'd be like, oh, you watch anime? Ugh. Now they're like,
Purists. That's hilarious.
I'm excited that I live in a world where most people know it's pronounced manga.
Yeah, right?
'Cause-
you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. Ah,
Got
that good old manga.
My daughter loves that manga, man. She's always.
That's our favorite fruit.
She reads it backwards, though. I don't
surprised.
understand
So
that.
weird. That's
She
weird.
starts at the back and goes all the way to the front. I'm like,
I don't
honey,
get it.
you are reading that damn
I
thing.
applaud Ray for knowing what a manga is. And not, he's like, yeah, them are comic books. Like, I applaud for the
backwards
attempt.
It's a different world that we live in.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
For sure.
So,
I feel like I finally stopped sweating, by the way. I ran on 2 margaritas.
welcome to Atlanta.
Right? I'm from Houston. It's because I drank 2 margaritas and then literally ran for 15
Ran
minutes.
as fast
Like,
as you
in
could.
these heels.
Yeah, and heels?
Important thing is you made it.
Hey.
Wow.
I mean, come
Those
on,
are some
y'all.
heels.
Yeah, I could
Damn.
never.
Props.
Literally, I will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Of course.
Anyway, sorry.
So, if you guys were a superhero or a supervillain, what would your name and your superpower be?
I don't know the name. Actually, I'll make it up.
You can make it up.
Time Wizard. And I've had this. So I'm a big fan of My Hero Academia. When I got the chance to audition, I had been reading. I was caught up on the manga.
Damn.
And I was so excited. At the very end of the audition sides, I saw Stain, and I was like, please let it be Rob McCullum. And it was, and I was so happy. But I've been thinking about what like quirk I would have, and it would. I don't know the name of it, but the power essentially would be for any minute, any second that I would use to like, I could manipulate time, like either speed it up, slow it down, or just stop it. But because quarks have a quirk, it would draw from my life force.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah.
Damn, you've thought about that.
So one day you look like you do now.
Yes.
If you use it too much, the next day you
I'm
look
dead.
What?
a skeleton. Yeah.
Pretty shitty.
Maybe I'll use the sands of time or something to negate the effect.
Yeah, there you go.
There
Yeah.
you go.
I was a big fan of Batman as a kid, so I think my superpower, I'd like to be a billionaire. Can I
was
do
gonna
that?
say rich.
Oh, yeah.
That is a superpower.
That
Don't
seems
we all?
That covers it all, kind of,
Yeah.
except for
Yeah,
it
time.
does,
Doesn't really
yeah.
cover time. But I would be a much better billionaire than the billionaires that I see on Twitter all the time.
Thank
Sure.
I can guarantee that.
That's a start.
You wouldn't try to buy Twitter?
I wouldn't.
No. Just to
I,
make people like you?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be
Me
my
either.
number one priority. No.
No, I
But you can
probably
sell
end
cars.
world
Absolutely,
hunger.
electric
Yeah,
ones.
yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
absolutely. Yeah, billions of dollars. That's my quirk.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Wow.
God. I mean, if I had a superpower or a quirk, I think it would be to force humans to work cooperatively and not seek power. I mean, I feel like people seeking power, I think that we've been conditioned to do that over millennia of imperialism and capitalism, and Comrade Neves is coming out. But I feel like if I could simultaneously throughout the entire globe put out a force of love that would force people to not to think of community before their self, I think that would probably solve a lot of
That would
problems.
solve a lot of
A
problems.
lot of
Yeah.
problems, most problems.
Pair that with his
Oh, thank
billions
you.
of dollars,
You're so
and we
sweet.
Yeah.
solved all the world's problems.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Up until you said community, I'm like, so you want to be the mom of the world?
No.
Kids, just
No,
get
I'd
along.
rather-
You kids.
I'd rather
just-
do all that but be anonymous and have nobody mess with me. Like, I'd want to participate in community, but I wouldn't want to talk to people.
You want the participation?
I'm able to
award
hold these
delivered.
two opposite ideas in my mind at once. Anyway.
That's the quirk.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Okay. Now we'll agree.
You got it.
Love it.
And mind control.
So, have you ever pivoted the interpretation of a character differently from the original Japanese version?
No.
I mean, sometimes we can do it with like the times that I have done it in any kind of significant way. It's been like some background character. Like
Yeah.
there's a show that you actually were the lead of.
Oh, God.
What's the one that was it was based on a video game? I can't remember the name of it.
Akiba's Trip.
Thank you.
Yep.
And
We're on the same page.
Cliff was directing that, I think.
Yep.
And he brought me in. He's like, this guy is like a train conductor, and he shows up to work one day to find that this tree has been cut down, and he just loses his mind. And the way that they did it in the J, it was just very much like a really big screaming kind of thing. And when I did it, I just did a very like breathless kind of thing. Like he was like shocked and stunned, which really worked well with his face. I thought was funny because his face was like huge, like he was screaming.
Right.
But then the sound was like,
That works. That works.
you know, something like
Yeah.
that. So you can kind of have fun with stuff
Yeah.
like, but you know, like if Aizawa walked in and he was supposed to say good morning, and instead we said, you know, go take a running, flying leap at a rolling donut. I mean, you just can't do that, you know.
Sure.
So I think Wall is the only place where
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
kind of can happen.
For sure. Wallace, yeah, go ahead.
No,
No, you go. I'll think. You go.
You'll think?
No, yeah, I'll think. You go.
I mean, the closest thing I could think of is like there was a show. Funny enough, we worked on this one too. It was Sleepy Princess and the Demon Castle. I voiced Twilight the Demon King, and he was ridiculous. But we were pretty close to that. But they also had me do Walla and Bits from time to time, and the director was like, "Make it as different as your voice is possible." So I would be like, and I can do anything? Anything. All right, great. So I would do like Patrick Star. I would do Squidward. My favorite was Iago. Just be like, the Demon King! Like, it's just terrible. But
beautiful.
in the Japanese, you wouldn't hear any of it. You'd just be like, you
It's all
know.
muffled in the.
I'm curious what the Patrick Star version of that
Yes,
sounds
do it.
like.
Do it.
The Demon King! SpongeBob!
Oh wow, that's funny.
Definitely
just
watch that show if you get a chance too.
Yeah.
Sleepy
I've never
Princess
heard
and
of
the
that
Demon
show. That's so
Castle.
weird.
It's
Yeah, it's
freaking
a comedy.
hilarious.
When did it come out?
Like 2 years ago?
Really?
2020 maybe?
Like a year?
2021?
Like a year and a
That's
half
crazy.
now? Yeah.
Huh. Well,
yeah.
It's very funny.
it sounds funny.
Yeah.
Damn. My main job for Funimation, Funimation
Yeah, there you go.
Crunchyroll is I'm a senior writer.
Formerly
Funimation,
now Crunchyroll.
Funimation. I adapt scripts and I supervise adapted scripts, but one of my favorite things to write is Walla because I will absolutely deviate because there's no translation for the Walla. It's just a bunch of, voices in the background. So I often will make conversations and in Snow White with the Red Hair, there was one scene, I wrote like half of that show, Jeremy Kratz wrote the other half, but there was one scene where it was a bunch of dudes, a bunch of soldiers, and I was like, all these guys look alike. They all have the same color hair. And so I wrote, I was like, hey, isn't it kind of weird that we all have the same shade of hair? She's like, yeah, there's something to that. I don't know what it is. But like, that's my favorite thing is to just write a conversation in the wall instead of just like random lines that people will say in the background. And I probably shouldn't do that.
It's really just for us. Like, it's really just for us.
me.
Yeah.
It's just for me, the director, and the actors. I'm like,
Yeah.
I live to make people laugh. Like, that's my whole life. Like, that's my super objective in life is to make people laugh. And if I can do that to my friends who are acting and directing, then I'm done. I could die
I
tomorrow.
did it. You
Yeah.
did the job.
Yeah, I did it. I won.
Whenever I see a fish market scene, I'll always reference Aladdin.
Oh,
Fish, fresh fish. It's so dumb, but yeah.
dumb is the best.
Yeah,
Dumb humor is.
Dumb is fun.
yeah.
It's fun to be dumb.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So what anime character would you want to voice if they were either being dubbed or redubbed?
Okay, redubbed. If they ever did like a Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood type of deal,
yes.
I would. Growing up, I was I was such a nerd. I was such a fool. There's this manga known as D and Angel, and I am far too old now to sound like Daisuke. But when I was in middle school, I thought, man, when I turn 14, I'm gonna get my own Phantom Thief, and we're gonna like share a body. It was so weird. I wonder why I got bullied. Yeah, no wonder I got bullied. But if there ever came like for a remake or whatever to audition for Dark, I think would be really cool. Yeah.
Word. This is never gonna happen. But if they redubbed Spirited Away, I would love to be. Is it May, the like mentor that helps Sen when she gets there? She's like just sassy,
Yeah.
worker chick. I would love to voice her. I just relate to her so much for some reason. Her personality. I don't know. She's sassy and brassy. I would love to do that. Sassy and brashy. Sassy and brassy. Anyway.
This is hard. I don't know. I grew up on 90s video games also, and I love the aesthetic of 90s video game voiceover because you can tell they only had like 16 bits to work with, and so everything that happens is this weird compressed nonsense, and I love it, and it's stuck in my head so deep that I'll just be walking around and it's just going through my head on a track. So in some weird alternate reality, I'd love to be the guy that could like go and do voices in the original Mortal Kombat or like Marvel vs. Capcom.
Dude.
Like
Love
that would
that.
be amazing.
Love that.
And I don't know if I'd want to do a reboot. I would want to do like Like, we're trying to get as close as we can to the
You mean
original.
Marvel versus Capcom 4, where it at?
Why would we do that? I don't know. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to be Toad in Mario Kart someday.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I could see that.
I'm sorry.
Okay, this is going to be my last question before we go into audience Q&A. What is the hardest or even most rewarding emotion to perform?
I mean,
say,
it's hardest on the chords to shout and scream and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, hardest on the chords.
just emotion.
Well, when I played Uryu Minane in Future Diary, my favorite role ever, I don't know, show of hands, anyone watched Future Diary? Okay, yes, she is my favorite character I have ever played. It was like 10 years ago and nothing has topped her, but she got her eye gouged out, she got her arm ripped off, then it got sewn back on, then she got it ripped off again, and so like those screams all had to be different. So that was pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I don't know how many people watched it because it's still fairly recent, but there's a show known as Platinum End that is done by the Death Note creator. Hey!
Several
I voiced,
people.
I voiced Midai, where Crunchyroll, I've seen the Crunchyroll comments and like, man, what a little bitch! And in fairness, yeah. But I really liked doing the yells in that because they were so agony. And he's like fighting for his life, and he's like yelling to shoot his red arrow. It's complicated angels and stuff, and very similar to Future Diary, actually. It's like Death Note with Future Diary.
Oh,
it's
God.
a god selection.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that I think
Okay.
about it, but they dress up like Power Rangers to hide their identities. I'm not making it up. I thought that
You're
was
gonna hide as like a
That's
really
amazing.
prominent public
Yeah.
figure that fights crime? Like,
Yeah, it's reverse Death Note.
okay.
Yeah,
Word.
yeah. But that yelling and crying at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, audience, if you want, we can go ahead and start getting lined up here at the microphone.
Line up.
So, dabbling with getting into voice acting, and a lot of what I've heard is getting started with commercials, working with a coach on like getting started there. But how did you all get started in animation? Did you follow that route of getting comfortable on the mic with commercials and then build up from there, or did you just go straight, I'm going to do anime?
I think it's all we all have different paths. So
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, I mean, I was a stage actor first, and then went to college for radio, television, film, which is now just media arts. And when I got out, I thought I was going to be a documentary filmmaker. That was my whole goal. That's all I wanted to do. And so then that turns out doesn't pay any money. That's a $0 job. So
Unfortunate.
so I was like, I'm going to do this on the side and just do some IT work sort of over here. And then the IT work very quickly just ate my entire life. And so before I knew it, I wasn't acting anymore. I wasn't making films anymore. I wasn't doing any of that anymore. And I had a friend who, from my theater days, who was like, I'm putting on a production. Do you want to jump in? I'm like, this is my chance. I'm going to get back into this. So I started doing that. He knew a director at Funimation. And so he was like, hey, you should really go audition over there. I'm like, sure, I'm trying to get back into this stuff. And so that was 2010. And so I didn't really, at no point was I like, I'm going to do anime. I liked anime. It was fun. And I loved video games. And then I think part of being an actor and really just any kind of artist or creator is wanting to create, wanting to tell stories, and then being open to these opportunities. Because you never know where they're going to come from.
Amen.
But yeah, so I didn't really start trying to do that. What about you guys?
Go ahead.
Okay. Since I was in middle school, I wanted to be an animator. And then I went to college. I went to Savannah College of Art and Design. And
Here in the state of Georgia.
yeah.
Okay.
But there's two here, actually. There's one in
Okay.
Atlanta and one in Savannah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And you went to the one in Savannah.
Yes. And I was there for a year. I studied with Disney animators and all this stuff, and I was so sad and depressed because I just was not having fun. And for me, I was like, I really want to have fun with what I do. A couple of years prior, my buddy had randomly asked me to voice for a machinima, which is an in-game engine movie, like using like Halo or like, whatever, as a video game. I was 14 and he wanted me to be a cop. I was still going through puberty, so I used, a squeaky cop. But I used a pitch filter, so it sounded like a squeaky muffle cop. And then a couple years later, I kept doing it, and my voice eventually lowered. And you know, I started getting interested in voice acting, so I was like, well, let me see if I actually want to do this. And I listened to like voice acting mastery. I read a bunch of books. I did research online, and I took some classes. My senior year of high school, I decided my 2 electives would be like drama, improv, and writing and theater, to see if I liked it, and just to get my feet wet and see if I wanted to do it. And it was something I enjoyed. One of my most memorable experiences in improv, they have this game, I don't remember what it's called, but you would walk around in a circle, and one person would be like, all right, now you're a chicken, now you're a cow.
Yeah.
And then when he shouted, now you're a fish, everybody's doing this. And I just flopped to the floor. Because I'm like, well, we're out of water. I'm just going to.
Sure, yeah.
And then my teacher stopped the entire class and was like, it's the commitment. That's the commitment. And I was like, oh. And while I was doing my year of animation, I was still doing voiceover. And then it's like, like, even though I've been sad doing like animation, I still feel passionate about voiceover. So a buddy of mine convinced me, he's like, hey, if you're sad, just drop out. Just drop out. Just drop out. And I'm like, okay. I only did it because I had a YouTube channel that would fund me. I don't recommend dropping out to anybody. I only did it because I had connections. I had a job already. It was all self-employed, but I made a steady income. I mean, I was a dumb kid. I moved to Texas with not even checking out the apartment. I was like, that one. And I got really lucky. And I knew people there, like all my friends that I had met online were in Texas, and it's like, oh yeah, they need Joel, who worked at Funny at the time, needs people for One Piece. And then he's like, hey, you're gonna be here for 5 years, right? And I was like, yeah, that was a lie. And
I'll be here for 4.
yeah, I'll be here for yeah. And yeah, the rest is history. That's kind of how I fell into it.
Word. That's great. That's amazing.
Yeah! Hell yeah!
So I started doing theater when I was 11. I'm what Hunter S. Thompson would call a fun hog, and I don't do anything unless there's at least a little bit of promise of some fun being had. And for me, when I was 11, that was theater. So I majored in it in college, got a BFA in acting at Texas State University, minor in playwriting and screenwriting, and then I waited tables for 5 years and saw an open call in the Houston Chronicle for auditions at the Alley Theater. I auditioned, I got cast in A Christmas Carol, and then I got asked to join the resident acting company that summer, and I was there for about 7 years. But in my second year there, I had a friend who was working at ADV at the time. It's now Sentai. They were looking for new female talent, and he said, I think you would be great. And I was like, well, I like Vampire Hunter D and Akira and the Ghibli films, so I think I could do it too. So anyway, he got me an audition, and I went in to read for Stephen Foster, famous writer and director of a little dub called Ghost Stories. Anyone? I was not in that. That was before my time. I wish I'd been in it. But anyway, yeah, he read me for like 10 or 15 characters, and then he cast me in a bit part in a show called Kiba. And then after that, he cast me as Reyna in A Fist of the North Star. Wait, it was Legend of the Dark King, A Fist of the North Star story. So, and then from there, I got Angel Beats and Clannad, and then in 2012, a friend of mine, this is so bad, don't ever do this, but a friend of mine got an audition for The Future Diary, and he shared it with me, and I read it, and I was like, this terrorist chick, I want to be her. And so I read for that, and I got cast, and that's how I started working at Funimation. And yeah, that's how it all happened. So basically, connections with people already in the industry and a whole lot of luck and being in the right place at the right time.
And by the way, that's not just an acting thing either. This is what I always say. Like, if you want to be a bricklayer, you need to know bricklayers.
Yeah, you got to
Like,
lay the damn bricks.
I don't care if you like networking or not. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to be a janitor, you better know a janitor.
There's
Like,
no other
you know?
way.
Like, you
There's no
gotta-
other way.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's weird world where, like,
You
especially
want to be a plumber, you go to Ray.
you got to talk to Ray.
gotta go to the T-ball game.
Like I'm very much an introvert kind of person, so like I think I labored under this delusion for a long time. Like, well, I'll just be great, and then the world will just kind of come to me. Like, nah, they don't care. Nobody cares.
Nobody
Like,
cares.
There's
Yeah.
so many great people, you know. So it's like
Yeah.
you got to be able to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
for sure.
For sure.
Come on up.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I'm a voice actor as well,
Word.
Awesome.
not
You
with
have
the
a
same
lovely timbre.
notoriety, but I'm based here in Atlanta. So I'm not in Texas or LA. What would be your best recommendation for getting in the door at Funimation, Crunchyroll, or
Well,
places like that?
there's tons of voice acting here in Atlanta and like Western animation, right? Am I wrong?
No,
I mean, like
think you're right, yeah.
Like a lot of people move to Atlanta to do voice
Oh,
work
Yeah.
On camera.
on camera,
There's
but
a lot
also
on camera, yeah.
Sure.
Western animation too. I mean, yeah. So I mean, I would study acting. I mean, I know you seem like you have studied, but make a reel. Chris said something earlier at a panel that was awesome. It was like, never give up. Like,
Yeah.
one of the beautiful things about voice acting is that you're not limited by how you look, how old you are. Like, if you can sound like, I mean, I'm of a certain age and I'm voicing a 6-year-old, so like, you can do it into your old age. Just keep doing it, you know?
I
Keep
feel like
training.
buried within your question was another question, which is like, will someone up on this panel tell me I need to move?
Well,
And I'm going to tell you you need to move. I'm going to be that guy.
To where, though?
Well, I think
It all depends.
Yeah, on
if
what you want.
You know,
Yeah.
because what you're really, I think, asking is like, you're not going to be able to get necessarily to where you want to go without some sort of representation. So,
That is
Yeah, that's true.
so getting that representation will be very challenging remotely.
Yeah.
I've heard of people who can do their entire career remotely, but they have representation before
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And it hasn't
so-
always been that way.
Hasn't always
I will
been that
say, because
way.
I don't have an agent.
Yeah.
The only agent I ever had was when I was at 11 to 15. I had a print modeling agent, and that's it.
Yeah.
But it's not like that anymore. Like you
No.
now, unfortunately, it's super competitive. A lot
Everybody
more
wants to
competitive.
do this.
Yeah. Because it's
So-
rad.
It's fun.
it's fun.
so the bar for entry is a lot lower than it used to be as well.
It is.
Yeah,
Well,
for
technologically and every other way too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be the guy that tells you, like, how serious do you want to do this? And if it's super serious, then start making a plan for moving to Dallas or Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Have a budget.
yeah.
Like, no kidding. Before, like, I might be a stupid kid that moved to Texas, but I also had $10,000 saved up. So
Damn,
have
impressive.
have money saved up.
It's a fair point, yeah.
And if you're going to LA, I recommend 20.
I was going to say 50,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
The way it's going.
Thanks so much. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I've got things that tie me to the area, so I
Sure,
wouldn't be
I
able to
understand.
move, but
But there's stuff
maybe
here
we can
you could do.
network a little.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
Cheers.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey.
My question's mainly for Emily. I'm a
All right.
producer
Me?
with a very large major corporation formerly known as Clear Channel.
Oh.
That they don't like us saying the new name
Uh-huh.
without their blessing. Anyway, when I'm writing scripts for reporters, how do you really bring emotion into your writing? Gentlemen, feel free to jump in here as well. Versus a dry script. Nobody wants to go out to the apartment fire. Hi, everybody. We're out in front of the apartment complex. It's fully ablaze.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's all about story, and I'm fortunate in that all the things that I write in terms of anime, all the adaptation that I do, the emotion's already built in. I can see it in the faces of the characters that are on screen. I read it in the translation, which itself is an adaptation. So that's easy, but what I hear you asking about is basically, I mean, you're creating original scripts for situations, right? I mean,
Yes.
like you're,
News reporting, yes.
yeah, news reporting. So, I mean, I would, if I were you and I were doing it, I would tap into how the situation makes me feel, and I would put myself in the shoes of the people who are involved in the situation and think about what I would be wanting to convey if I were them, like what I would want people to know about the situation if I were them. So, yeah.
I'm not a scriptwriter, but I'm just going to say put a lot of slang in it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a lot of real, whatever the kids are saying.
You know,
Don't
check
out-
don't do that.
Check out this dope bar
No,
wreck.
stop. Don't ever. Don't.
I don't know
Don't
if
do
that makes
that.
sense.
This apartment fire is lit, y'all.
That's like 5
The
years
adults
ago.
watching will be confused. The the kids aren't watching anyway.
Oh,
It's
they're
on their
in the
device.
other room here. Man, this place is lit, and it's going to be on TikTok.
Yeah, that's
This
right.
place is lit on fire.
Put on fire, literally.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I do want to say for the folks that have questions, please keep your mask on, just for COVID safety protocols. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. I love your blazer. It's so cute. And your shoes. Sorry.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, what's up?
Good, how are you?
So, my question's probably basic, but you know me. What have been y'all's favorite character to voice so far? Like
Or you mean an A? Future Diary. She's a terrorist. And by the end, she's the best person ever. I love her so much.
Can you pick one?
What?
Can you pick one?
Or you mean an A? That one.
okay then.
Hands down. Like, easy. Yeah.
Chris?
I can't. I mean, I used to always I would hear these interviews with actors and they'd just go on like, oh, these are my children. It's so hard to choose. And then I've got like 200 roles now. Like it actually is hard to choose. Like, I will say that like every year I end up with a favorite for that year. So I would
That's
say
good.
this year I was in a show called Ranking of Kings, and I just love that show. I love the animation. I hope this animation catches on because it's very kind of throwbacky and simple and interesting, and I want to see more shows like it. I play a character named Bebin, who you think in the beginning of the show, no spoilers.
Spoilers!
Is a very straightforward, kind of gruff, villainous type of fellow, and then you learn a whole lot of other things about him that builds the story of who he is, what he does, why he's there.
This sounds
et
like
cetera.
spoilers to me.
No spoilers. There are snakes involved, I will say that. But,
What?
Word.
Yeah, so every year there's, I'm fortunate in that I get a lot of auditions, and I'm thankful for that. And so it's hard to choose, but I'm at an anime convention, so I'm just going to say Aizawa also. Like, I love Aizawa a lot.
Wow, way to pander to the audience.
They love it. Look, see, they
I
love
mean,
it.
also, Aizawa rules, so there's that.
Well, you have to
Pretty
say
cool.
No, I don't.
Contractual obligation, yeah.
contractual obligation. For me, oh man, yeah, like you said. My favorite answer is the one I can't talk about.
The next one.
The next one.
Whatever the next one is.
Oh man, I don't. I mean, I'll say this: the one that's always held a special place in my heart is Shallot in Dragon Ball Legends. I mean, today is technically 4 years since Dragon Ball Legends came out, and I mean, as a fan of Dragon Ball, watching it since I was 3, I mean, yeah, it was pretty cool getting the news that I was in Dragon Ball in some way, shape, or form. So,
Hell yeah.
yeah,
Very much.
Thank you.
yeah.
Hello.
Hey.
So, my question is, when you guys are ever in the booth and you guys are recording, and there was a point in time where you're like, I kind of want to voice another character too, but never got the opportunity to. So
In the same show?
Yeah, in the same show.
Okay.
So what would be those characters?
How do we want to get in trouble, fellas?
Right? How do I make my friends hate me? Well, my favorite thing to do in the booth is like jokingly fill in the voice of the other characters in the scene with me when I'm like previewing the scene. Like, so I'll make up stupid lines based on my lines, like in response. That's as far as I'll go with that.
And generally speaking, I love voicing villains. And so anytime I'm in a show where there's a cool villain, if I'm not that villain, I kind of am just like, man, that looks fun. I want to
like
be bad.
bad.
Can't I be bad? Let's be bad together, you know?
That's fair. I know, I got nothing. I got nothing. The cat instead of Namasa in My Hero Academia.
Oh, the cat.
San-
Cool. I love the cat.
Sansa! Yeah.
Yeah, he's very cute.
So
That's all I got, because, I can't think of anything.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. That dumb cat.
Hi.
Hello.
So, you guys had brought up earlier for like if you want to get into voice acting to have like a voice reel made. What would you recommend to somebody who is trying to put together a voice reel but they don't have any like official voice credits to their name?
Well, I have a friend named Donna Bella, and she just recently was in. Oh God, I can't remember. Can't remember the name of the show.
You got it.
I don't know. But anyway, the point of the story is she just had a reel that she went into the booth and she wrote herself. She was like, I think these are the 6 to 7 types of characters that I can play well. I'm going to make a 1.5-minute reel. I'm going to write the words. Or if you don't feel comfortable writing them yourself, find a friend who is. Say like, hey, I want to do like a bratty little boy, and then an innocent little girl, and then a warrior chick, and then a mom, and whatever else. And you have that person create, you know, like 2 lines per character in different situations that are contrasting. And you could just lay that down yourself. It doesn't have to be official. It doesn't have to be actual produced material. It just has to showcase your range. My friend, I love her. We're very close. I believe in her. We've done a lot of theater work together, and I think she's very talented. And so she sent me her reel. And then Jason Lord on Twitter was like, hey, I'm looking for new talent. Like, I want newbies. I want people who have never done anime before. And I was like, here you go. And he cast her, and she had like 2 sessions that were each 4 hours long. And now, like, she had a whole villain arc in, God
Heck yeah.
damn it, I can't
Skeleton
remember the
Knight?
name of the show.
I know he's like
I'd be
working
crazy.
on,
But anyway, it was very recent, and you know, she knew me, and I was able to get her access, but she had done the work. She had done the preparation, and she's a writer, she's an actor, and so she had prepared this thing that says, look, here is my range, this is what I can do, pass it along. And I did, and she got it, so.
I want
Yeah,
to ask
I
you a
did that.
question too. How many character voice reels would you say you have listened to at this point?
I've probably listened to maybe like 3 of them, maybe.
You need to listen to like 300 of them.
Yeah,
I'm listening-
agreed.
3 more,
So like,
yeah.
don't start making a reel. You need to go find agencies, like just start looking up voice acting agencies,
Yeah.
voiceover agencies. Turns out if you go to their website, almost all of these talents' voice reels are on the website. Start looking up actors that you know, like actors you admire, and look up their reels and just start listening to hundreds of voice reels,
Yeah.
literally.
great
I
advice.
highly recommend Max Middleman's. I always let people know, listen to that one, because Max covers, like, it's more of those, instead of, like, it's like, oh, here's the stuff I can do, he just does it. Because, like, instead of telling you he can beatbox, he does it in the reel. And I'm like, I didn't know you could do that, that's great. So if there's, like, something, if you could speak another language, if you can do another accent, like, yeah. But listening to a bunch of different demo reels.
Well, and the reason I put such a fine point on that, especially if you're going to create it yourself, you got to remember the thing you create needs to be something different than all those 300 that you've just listened
Yeah.
to.
It's also
'Cause
gotta
no
be in the
agent
class
is
of
going to
it,
take
too.
you on if you're just doing the same thing that some other person is doing, right? You've got to fill a niche that they don't already have, or else they're not going to bring you in. So finding your space inside of that is a big part of the process.
Absolutely.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Get
Yo, what's up?
Big fan of you guys. I've been playing Dragon Ball Legends.
Let's
4 years-
go!
Last 4 years. Beta on that. That was cool.
Heck yeah.
My original question, because I was aspiring to be a voice actor, was answered in like 3 of those.
Great.
Word.
Here's my other question. What is the most difficult vocal direction that any of you have gotten?
It's always conversational reads in VO. It's always
Oh,
trying to create an audition for commercial VO.
I was
and
gonna say
the
commercial,
frickin'
specifically.
we want it to be relatable and conversational. And then the copy is like,
No.
come in on Thursday for a 50% off sale on all the furniture. Like, I've never had that conversation with anyone.
So this is
That doesn't
Yeah,
exist.
no.
This is what I do when I see those. It's like conversational. It's like, yeah, Subway, get yours now. It's like, yeah, Subway, get yours now, only for $9.99. Yeah, the bigger footlong. It's been out for it, guys.
That's just Aizawa selling Subway.
I mean, I know a lot of people that audition for commercial VO. They're like, I just ignore the specs now, and I read the script, and I
Yeah,
put my
absolutely.
interpretation.
It's
'Cause
always better.
It's a bunch of advertising executives putting together a spiel, and they don't know what they want. They have
Yep.
no idea. They have some like specific person in their mind that they're thinking of, that they hear
Yeah.
when they're writing the copy, but they don't know how to quantify that. They don't know how to
Nope.
put that into writing to tell an actor to do that. And so they're just like, oh, well, I'm going to say this, and this is going to contradict this, and it doesn't matter. So, like, I think it's in your best interest just to ignore it and do what you feel, and they'll be like, oh, that's
Because what they
great.
really want is authenticity.
Yeah.
That's what they mean. They want
Yeah, yeah.
you, right?
Yeah.
So they want you to bring your authentic voice forward. And 9 times out of 10, they don't necessarily know what they want. And
Yeah.
I will absolutely take an audition side. And if I can throw in like a, huh, or if I can throw in like a, or if I can throw in like a,
I would buy all
not in a
3 of
weird
those
way,
products.
not in a it sounds weird and doesn't fit way, not in a, oh, now the whole thing's about that thing.
Yeah, I don't know what you're
Ways
talking about.
to make it Ways to make it sound like a human being is actually saying the words,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of times the copy does not, like you look at the copy and you're like, well, no human says
Sorry.
that ever.
Ever.
Like, or has ever said that
Yeah,
before.
it's
So-
true. It sucks. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
But I hope that answers your question.
capitalism.
Yeah. Awesome, thank you.
Come on, Daves. you feel me.
Hello there.
Hi. You look great.
Thank you. I was going to ask the voice acting question, but everything was basically already answered for me, so thank you. So my question now is, what is like a manga or a light novel or a visual novel or maybe even video game that you would want to get an anime adaptation?
Oh,
Good question.
Mark, erasing the name, but it's something days. It's about a former assassin, and now he works at a convenience store. God, help me! Sakamoto Days, yes! Oh my gosh, I started reading that. So good. I think it is getting an anime adaptation. It's so good.
Here's my ignorance. Is there an anime adaptation of Lone Wolf and Cub?
I think so. Well, no. I know there's no.
Does anybody know?
I'm thinking of the manga.
Because I remember reading
that would be
long-
amazing, and you'd be amazing.
Can I audition for that, please? I want to be the dad.
I want to be the
Can
cub.
I be Samurai Dad?
You said Lone Wolf and Cub. My brain went to Between the Lions for no reason. I don't know why.
Because it was the funniest thing that could have happened in that situation.
Your brain's trying to help you out.
Yeah, it's trying to read Between the Lines. I would say for me, either obviously Genshin Impact.
Oh, yeah.
That or what I would really want is a proper like full series adaptation of. There's a indie game known as a Gunvolt. I would love that.
Ooh,
yeah.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah. It's basically Mega Man.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Familiar with that.
Great question, though.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
great question.
Hi, just had a quick thing, specifically directed close to Chris. I saw you work with Miles Edgeworth for Phoenix Wright.
Miles Edgeworth.
Correct? But just a general thing to everyone up there. What's like do you have any like really memorable moment outside of the voice booth with your fellow coworkers or fellow voice actors? If possible, Chris, there's a lot of good chemistry throughout the Phoenix Wright. Is there anything there for that?
I love Kyle Phillips so much. He was the director of Ace Attorney, and he really creates such a fun environment in the booth. And he was like, we're just going to take all these outtakes and put them on YouTube. Yeah. And so if you go to YouTube and you look up Ace Attorney outtakes, it's wonderful. And it's very silly and it's very crass. There's a lot of cursing. And Eric Vale is just hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
I think they got animated.
Yeah, I think so too. It's taken on a life of its own for sure. But that's I don't know. It depends on the show. Like some shows really lend themselves to that, and then other shows really don't. But I would say that's an example for sure of every session was we were really laughing our balls off the entire time. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, the one that always comes to mind. I know that you said out of the booth. Well, this is like.
Well, let's say
in between,
takes, or the downtime, we'll say.
I worked on the show called Nambika, and Aaron Dismuke directed that show. And at the time, it was the first time Hayden, who unfortunately couldn't be at this panel because they're not feeling too well, they were visiting because they're from Canada, and and Aaron let them sit in.
Aww.
And the episode we were recording for Nambika, there is a scene where Uno is hugging a body pillow of the main character of the show. And he's like kind of talking to him in a baby voice, because he's asleep. And I was just doing something, and Aaron goes, all right, man. Can you do it one more time? And say it like you're coming onto a baby.
What?
And I'm like, I look at him, and I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, just try it. And I'm like, all right. He mutes the mic. And apparently, I don't remember this, but apparently, I do like a motion like this to the microphone. So it's like I'm getting closer, like hunching over. And Aaron, while the mic is muted, he goes, he's doing it! He's actually doing it! All while my partner is watching. And that is the line that's in the show. That's the take.
Yes! I love that. Oh, man. I had
That's
a similar
amazing.
experience on the opposite side. I was directing a little show called Maid Sama. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. I love that show so much. Oh, my God. So Monica Rial and David Matranga are the leads, and there's one scene outside of the Maid Cafe when Usui discovers Misa. He finds her there at the Maid Cafe. She doesn't want anybody to know that she's working at a Maid Cafe, but he finds her out, and she comes out into the alleyway, and I don't know, he grabs her and is supposed to whisper in her ear. But we were previewing it, and I told Brian, my engineer, I was like, when David Matranga is in the booth, you record everything. I don't care, if he's just joking around, you record that. Because, David will just go off in the booth and just, spout nonsense, and it's hilarious. So anyway, we're recording, and, it gets to that part, and David just goes, he pulls Misaki in, and he's supposed to, be real sexy or whatever, and David just goes, hoo-hoo. And I was like, you got that, right? And he was like, yeah. I was like, all right, we're done. That's what we use. I was like, I don't give a shit. That's what we're using. It's the funniest thing ever. So anyway, watch Maid-sama. Also, little side note about Maid-sama. I was working for Sentai. I was full-time, and they didn't pay me for my voice acting when I was working as a full-time director. They were stealing my labor. But anyway, if you go to... Yes, Comrade Neves. If you go to my Anime News Network site, my encyclopedia site, if you go down to Maid-sama, you'll see that I played 50 characters in that show. It's a baby, a dude on the train, and I don't know, that's my proudest
Dude
self.
on the train?
Yeah, seriously, that's myself.
What's your dude voice?
Oh, hey.
I got the part.
So bad.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We got just a few minutes left, so we're gonna go for a lightning round.
Yes!
My watch died.
I forgot my charger.
Go ahead, yeah.
Hey, voice acting has always been like just a cool idea to me. Middle school, I'd run around saying "Omae wa Moshinderu" and stuff like that. Or the Lich from Adventure Time, or a Minecraft Steve impression, and voice chat or something like that. But I know that just something being cool to you doesn't get you to the places you want to be. So my question is more like a guiding light. What would be a guiding light to say, if I did want to find success or just a good experience, what is the biggest mistake I should avoid, and what is the one thing I should look for when I'm looking for success?
Biggest mistake is don't be an asshole. Who's got the biggest thing you should look for?
Yeah, don't be a dick. For success, I would say if you're having fun.
Yeah.
Especially when you start out, yeah. If you're having fun,
Yeah. I mean,
that's
at the
super
end of the day,
important.
it's cartoons.
I still have
so
fun.
have fun. Yeah.
If it's not fun, you're doing something wrong, right?
Yeah.
If it's not fun, I'm not doing it.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That's great.
Lightning round.
Pew pew.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey.
Good. How are you?
So I've been voice acting recently, and I kind of hurt my voice, and I was wondering, what kind of practices would you do to keep from doing that, or would you just not do the voice at all?
Always warm up. Always cool down. Warm up with arpeggios, stuff like that. Lip trills are really good. Do that for about 30 minutes before you record, and then after you record, especially if it's a really vocally taxing session, cool down, doing the same things but very gently. Just kind of make sounds that massage your vocal cords. And if you look on YouTube, you're gonna find all kinds of stuff. So warm up, cool down.
Yeah, and if you're already in pain, shut up.
Yeah, stop. Say, hey, I need to call it.
Yeah.
Totally within your right.
Remember, it's not about this gig, it's about your whole career. So you got to
Amen.
keep that voice for the next 20, 25, 30 years.
Yep.
So take care of it.
Hell yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello. I have a little technical, a nerd question. There's a lot of bright mics a lot of people recommend when you're getting started out. So for a novice amateur who might not have that much money, I know Yetis are not that good. What type of mics would you recommend?
I mean, Yetis aren't terrible. Until the pandemic, that's what I had, a Yeti Blue, and
Sure.
had a corner in my house, and that's how I recorded auditions. Both me and David Matranga, that's what we had. And so don't knock it. I would say it's more actually about the space, treating your space, than it is about the mic.
Yes. My usual go-to for people starting out is the AT2020. If you have a little bit more money and want to get the professional microphone, there's this mic called the Mic Parts S87. It's $600, but you're essentially getting the quality of a $3,000 to $4,000 microphone, which is the Neumann U87.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've been using that for 2 years now.
Word.
Which one was it?
Mike Parts S87.
S87.
Yeah, and I would just second, it's about the space. So especially when you're starting out, try to get a very dead space.
Yeah.
It's just as dead as possible.
Yeah.
That's all you want.
If you have to build a blanket fort,
fort.
I know, I will say this, David Matringa, I don't know what spot it was. I think it was a Houston Astros commercial spot. He recorded a whole spot. We were in Japan shooting a film, and he put hotel blankets and pillows in the bathroom, recorded the spot there. And it worked. They aired it for 2 years, so.
Wow. You guys don't do auditions under the sheets? I dead ass did that the
Hey
other
now.
day.
Auditions under the sheets.
I'm sorry, I got under the blankets and I needed, I'm not kidding, by the way. I did that.
I know. No, I know.
I feel you.
Yeah, word.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, this will be our last question.
All right, I'm mostly up here to throw off my shirt because everyone else has asked the questions I had in mind.
Okay. Oh, Jesus.
And also, I'm here to ask Alejandro particularly why, when I search his filmography, the first result is Barbie, Big City, Big Dreams.
I'm sorry?
That's the first result on my phone.
So when he searches.
Oh! Okay. So the result is why is the first thing that you pull up when you find me on Google is Barbie. I voiced in a Barbie movie. Nice. I voiced a character known as Rafa, and he has a whole musical number. And I was very embarrassed. Yes.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that song was stuck in my head for like a month.
Of course.
Yeah, I think it's on Netflix, but yeah.
So rad.
Yeah.
Good job.
That does answer my question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, awesome. Thank you guys so much. This was a great panel. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
I have metabolized those 2 margaritas.
Be sure to check Emily out tomorrow on the Walk of Fame. Alejandro will also be doing autographs tomorrow. And Chris, you have another panel tomorrow as well.
I do. I'll see you guys at 11:30 in the morning for nap time with Aizawa.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you guys.
Let me take a nap.
That's right.
I love it.